If you're tired of falling back on the same old pentatonic cliches every time you take a solo, then stick around because I'm going to show you how borrowing a few ideas from Joe Bonamassa and Eric Johnson can unlock modern pentatonic vocabulary that sounds like this. If you're new here, my name's Ross Campbell. I'm a professional guitarist and online educator from Scotland, now based in Nashville, Tennessee. So a lot of intermediate players feel stuck because they're recycling the same pentatonic licks over and over. Now, often it's not the case that the scale is the problem, it's how little most players actually explore it. If you never push past your handful of go-to phrases, your solos will end up sounding like variations of the same idea for years on end. What's the solution then? Well, you want to study how great pentatonic players phrase within the scale and use those concepts to expand your own vocabulary without having to learn any new scales. So today, I'm giving you 2 licks that add a couple of flavor notes and move through the pentatonic positions in ways that you probably haven't tried yet, so that you can hopefully fall back in love with the minor pentatonic. Here is lick number 1. And here's lick number 2. If you want to get that backing track plus a 2-hour blues rock soloing masterclass, hit the link in the description box beneath the video and I'll send it all to you for free. All right, let's break down lick number 1. There's a heavy Joe Bonamassa influence here, and honestly, he is one of the best players that you can study if you're trying to expand your minor pentatonic vocabulary. One of the biggest hacks that I picked up from him over the years is how he adds a single note to the minor pentatonic to give it a more modern flavor. That note is something called a natural second. If you don't know what that means, then don't worry, because finding this note on the fretboard in the context of minor pentatonic positions is very straightforward. The natural second can be found 2 frets above the root note. Now, this lick, it moves between positions 5 and 1 of the minor pentatonic, so let me show you exactly where that note gets added in. We're in the key of B, so pentatonic position 5 sits here. So we've got a B root note on the G string at the 6th fret. And so 2 frets above that, you will find the natural second. And in position 1, you'll find the natural second 2 frets above this root on the high E string. So now let me break down each part of lick number 1, starting with this. So I'm basically starting from the root note on the G string in position 5, and I'm hitting that additional note, the natural second, as I ascend through the notes. Then, once I've hit that last note on the B string, I go back to fret 7 on the G, and I shift up into position 1 with a slide. So try playing that a couple of times slowly with me now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next part continues in position 1, and it goes like this. So here, I'm hitting the natural second once again, only this time it's an octave higher at fret 9 on the high E string. So once again, try playing this part with me a couple of times slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last part of this lick is very simple. It goes like this. Now, all I'm doing here is descending through the B blues scale by starting at fret 10 on the B string and finishing at fret 9 on the A string. Now, I say blues scale and not minor pentatonic because I am technically hitting the flat 5 from the blues scale at fret 10 on the G string. So let's play through that part together now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now let's combine everything and play through this first lick together at a slow tempo. And let's hear it one more time over the backing track at the original tempo. Before we move on to lick number 2, I just want to remind you that there is a free gift waiting for you in the description box beneath this video. It's my 2-hour-long blues rock soloing masterclass. It uses the same backing track we're working with today, and it takes you through 10 licks inspired by the same 2 players that I'm talking about in this video, Eric Johnson and Joe Bonamassa. You can get instant access for free by just clicking the link beneath the video. Now let's take a listen to lick number 2. In lick number 1, we added the natural second to the B minor pentatonic. In this lick, we're not using the natural second, but we are adding a different color note to the same scale. This time it's a note called a natural sixth, and it's actually the final note you hear at the end of the phrase. So where does that note live inside the pentatonic framework? Well, let's start by looking at the formula for the minor pentatonic, which is 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. Now the natural sixth sits right between the 5th and the flat 7th, and it's actually just 1 fret below that flat 7th, okay? This applies to the entire fretboard, right? In this lick, I'm using it inside position 4 of the B minor pentatonic. Now, this is a note that you'll hear guys like Joe Bonamassa and Eric Johnson throw into their pentatonic runs all the time. But there is another thing both of them do that I wanted to highlight in this lick as well. And that is their use of perfect 4th and perfect 5th intervals to move through the pentatonic notes in a really melodic way. I'll explain what I mean by that as we break down each part of the lick, starting with this. So we all know what a power chord is, right? It's just 2 notes, a root and a 5th. That means that the distance between the lower note and the higher note equals a perfect 5th interval, and that is the exact same interval that you're hearing between these 2 notes in the lick. So on the D string at the 9th fret, you've got a B. And on the G string at the 11th fret, you've got an F sharp. If you run through the musical alphabet starting on B and you count 5 letter names, B, C, D, E, F, that gives you the interval of a fifth. And because the actual note is an F sharp, that makes it a perfect fifth. Now, you can find power chords everywhere in the minor pentatonic scale. And I think it's common for guitarists to only ever think about power chords in a rhythm guitar context. But when you break up those power chords and use them in your lead playing by playing one note after the other, you can come up with some really modern creative sounds. So let's continue into the next part of this line, which also uses a perfect fifth interval. It goes like this. Now, if I can just give you a quick technique tip here for the slides, it's important that you fret those notes with your middle finger, since that is going to be the most comfortable way to play this part of the lick. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to point out here. The first is that we're actually outlining a B minor triad with these notes spread across the D, G, and B strings. The B minor pentatonic scale naturally contains a B minor triad, so that is something to be mindful of when you're soloing with this scale. You can target those minor triad shapes, if you know them, in all positions. And then with the last two notes in this part, you've got another power chord, another perfect fifth being outlined. Those two notes are E and B. E, F, G, A, B equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes, a perfect fifth interval. So far, we've got two broken up power chords, perfect fifth intervals making an appearance in this lick. We started with this in part 1, and now we've got this in part 2. Let's move on to the last part of this lick, which goes like this. All right, there's three things to point out here. The first is that we've got some unison notes at play. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the note at fret 16 on the G string and the note that comes after it, fret 12 on the B string, are the exact same note, B. Again, this is something that you'll occasionally hear from Eric Johnson and Joe Bonamassa, and I really love the sound of playing the same pitch of the same note, one after the other on different strings. The second thing to point out here is that after those B notes, I play the note E. Now, earlier on, I mentioned that Bonamassa and Eric Johnson both use perfect fourth and perfect fifth intervals in their pentatonic lines. We've already seen two examples of perfect fifths in this lick. And now in this part, the perfect fourth interval shows up because that is the distance in pitch that exists between those two notes, B and E. B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4 notes, a perfect fourth interval. Like fifths, fourths also add that modern, fresh sound to the minor pentatonic. Now, the last thing to point out is that I finish on that natural sixth note, the thing I talked about right at the start. I love the sound of this natural sixth in the context of minor pentatonic soloing. It just sounds kind of unexpected and modern, and I think it turns heads, you know? So now let's play through lick number 2 together a few times. Now, the cool thing about these two licks is that they work well in isolation, just on their own. I mean, you could play lick number 1. And then launch into some of your own improv, and you could do the same for lick number 2. But you can also combine them into one long minor pentatonic scale run like this. So that's what I want you to work on in your practice after you finish this video. Once you've spent some time getting each lick under your fingers, try playing through both of them together without stopping. So when you finish lick number 1, go straight into the first note of lick number 2. Now, to help you out, I'm going to play through the whole thing at a slow tempo with the tab on screen now. I'll run through it a few times, and I want you to try playing it with me. Absolutely pause and rewind the video as many times as you feel you need to, and feel free to take a screenshot of the tabs as well. Guys, once again, there is a free 2-hour-long blues rock soloing masterclass waiting for you in the description box beneath the video. If you enjoyed this lesson and you want to go deeper with some Bonamassa and Eric Johnson style concepts, that free course is the perfect next step to take. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.